Hello there and welcome back. I hope you are having a good day. Now, I need to talk to you about something that affects every single penny you receive from the state pension. And I know, politics can feel like a headache. All those names, all that arguing, it is enough to make you want to switch off. But please, stay with me for just a moment, because this is about your money. This is about your weekly income. And there has been a very big change in Westminster that could shape the future of your pension for years to come. You have probably heard the name Andy Burnham by now. He is set to become our next Prime Minister. And recently, he broke his silence on something called the triple lock. Now, the triple lock is the guarantee that your state pension goes up every year by whichever is highest: inflation, wage increases, or 2.5%. It is the reason your pension has been rising faster than prices for years. But here is the thing. There are powerful voices, economists, think tanks, even some of Mr. Burnham's own advisors, who are saying it is too expensive and needs to be changed. The Office for Budget Responsibility has warned that the triple lock is adding billions to government spending and could push debt to unsustainable levels in the decades ahead. Now, Mr. Burnham has given a very clear answer about what he plans to do. And depending on what happens next, your state pension could keep growing at a generous rate. Or it could be scaled back. This is not about party politics. This is about your financial security. So today, I'm going to explain exactly what Mr. Burnham has said, what the critics are demanding, and what it all means for you and your family. Please, if you find this valuable, hit that like button. It helps other seniors find this information too. Now, let us take this step by step together. Now, let us start with the basics, because I know all this political talk can get very confusing. What exactly is the triple lock? Well, it is a promise that was introduced back in 2011 by the coalition government. The idea was simple. Every April, the state pension would rise by the highest of three things: inflation, which is the rate at which prices go up; average wage growth, which is how much people's earnings are increasing, or a flat rate of 2.5%. The purpose was to make sure that pensioners were never left behind. If prices went up, your pension went up. If wages went up, your pension went up. And even if neither went up much, you would still get at least a 2.5% increase every single year. And it has worked. It has worked very, very well for pensioners. Think about this. The full new state pension for 2026/27 is £241.30 a week, which works out to just over £12,500 a year. That is a significant amount of money, and the triple lock has been the driving force behind that growth. Since it was introduced, the state pension has risen by more than 80%, comfortably outpacing inflation. If you are relying on that money to pay for your food, your heating, your rent, or just to have a little bit of comfort in your retirement, this policy has been a lifesaver. It has given you peace of mind, knowing that your income will not be eroded by rising costs. But here is where the story gets complicated. The triple lock has become very, very expensive. When it was first introduced, the government expected it to cost about £5.2 billion a year. But because inflation and wages have been more volatile than expected, the Office for Budget Responsibility now estimates that by 2029/30, it will have added about £15.5 billion to state pension spending each year. That is 3 times more than originally predicted. And looking even further ahead, the OBR has warned that state pension spending could rise from about 5% of the UK's total economic output today to as much as 9% by 2075. That is a massive chunk of the national budget. And it is not just the triple lock. It is also the fact that we have an ageing population. More and more of us are living longer, which means more people are claiming the state pension for longer periods of time. So you can see why some people are getting worried. The government has to balance the books. It has to pay for the NHS, for defence, for schools, for roads. And if the state pension bill keeps going up and up, something else has to give. That is why there have been growing calls to reform the triple lock. And those calls have been getting louder and louder. especially from influential organisations like the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. Just recently, they published a report urging the government to ditch the triple lock, calling it unusually generous compared to other countries, and warning that it adds significant fiscal risks. They are not alone. The OBR has also said it is a substantial pressure on public spending. Now, what is really interesting, and perhaps a little bit concerning for pensioners, is that some of Andy Burnham's own key advisors are among those critics. He has brought in some very respected economists to advise him, including former Treasury Minister Lord O'Neill, former Bank of England Chief Economist Andy Haldane, and former OBR Chief Richard Hughes. And these are not shy people. Lord O'Neill has previously called the triple lock bonkers. Andy Haldane has described it as fiscally unsustainable and said, given our strained fiscal times, why not now to tackle it? Richard Hughes has said it is one of a series of age-related pressures pushing public spending upwards. So the people who are whispering in the new Prime Minister's ear are not fans of the policy. That is a very significant development. So, with all this pressure, what has Andy Burnham actually said? What is his plan? Well, the good news, and I want you to hear this very clearly, is that he has made a firm commitment. In a recent online question and answer session, when asked about the triple lock, he said, and I quote, "I appreciate there's a lot of debate about this, but it is important that the commitment in the manifesto stands." What does that mean? It means he is pledging to keep the triple lock for the rest of this parliament. And this parliament is expected to last until 2029. So, for the next few years at least, your state pension increases are protected. You will still get that guaranteed rise every April. That is a solid commitment, and it is something to be grateful for. But, and there is always a but, isn't there? The key question is what happens after 2029. That is when the next general election will be held. And Mr. Burnham has not made any promises beyond that point. He said the decision about what happens at the next election is for him and his party to decide then. That leaves a big question mark hanging over the long-term future of the triple lock. He is committed to it for now, but he is not committed to it forever. And given that his own advisors are against it, it is very possible that Labour's next manifesto could include a plan to change or even scrap the policy. The next election could be the battleground for the future of your pension. Now, you might be wondering, what could replace the triple lock if it is scrapped? There are a few ideas floating around. One is a double lock, which would remove the 2.5% minimum guarantee. Your pension would still rise with inflation or wage growth, but it would no longer get that extra boost if both of those are low. Another idea is a smoothed earnings link, which would tie increases to wage growth, but include a temporary cash boost during periods of high inflation. The point is, the exact replacement is not clear. But what is clear is that any replacement would almost certainly mean slower growth for your pension compared to what we have seen over the past decade. The generous increases we have become used to could become a thing of the past. Now I want to address something that might be on your mind. You might be thinking, why should I care about the cost to the government? I worked hard all my life and I deserve this pension. And you are absolutely right. You have paid your national insurance contributions for decades. You have earned this money. The triple lock was a promise, and it has been a vital safety net for millions of pensioners. It is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It is about dignity. It is about being able to afford to heat your home in winter, to buy the food you need, to live a comfortable and secure retirement. And I completely understand why the thought of changing it is frightening. But here is the reality. The government has to think about the long-term sustainability of the whole system. And the OBR has been very clear that if nothing changes, we are on a path where debt levels could become dangerously high. That affects everyone, including future pensioners. So there is a difficult balancing act. How do you protect pensioners today while making sure the system is still affordable for tomorrow? That is the challenge that Andy Burnham and every future Prime Minister is going to face. And there is another twist in this story that I need to tell you about. The triple lock is not the only thing affecting your pension income. There is also the issue of frozen income tax thresholds. The personal allowance, that is the amount of money you can earn before you have to pay income tax, has been frozen at £12,570 since 2021. Now, the full new state pension in 2026/27 is £12,547.60. That is just £23 below the tax threshold. So, with even the minimum 2.5% rise under the triple lock, the full state pension will exceed the personal allowance in 2027/28. That means more and more pensioners will be pulled into paying income tax on their state pension for the first time. It is expected that around 820,000 pensioners will be in this situation by 2027/28. The government is even reportedly considering deducting income tax directly from state pension payments. So, even if the triple lock stays, your net income could be affected by the tax system. It is a double whammy. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, and I know it can feel worrying, but I want you to take a breath. The most important thing to remember is that for the next few years, your state pension is secure. Andy Burnham has given his word, and he is sticking to the manifesto commitment. You do not need to panic. You do not need to make any sudden decisions. But I do want you to be aware and informed. Knowledge is power. Understanding the arguments on both sides helps you know what might be coming down the road. And I also want to say that you are not alone in this. There are many voices out there defending the triple lock. The Daily Express, for example, has a long-running campaign to protect it. Reform UK has promised to maintain it if they win the next election. The Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats are also supportive. Polls suggest that the majority of the public are in favour of keeping the triple lock. So there is strong political pressure to protect pensioners. The winter fuel payment fiasco showed that any government that tries to take away support from pensioners faces a fierce backlash. That is a powerful deterrent. So, what should you do? First, do not stop watching. Stay informed. This is your money, and you have a right to know what is being discussed. Second, consider your own financial situation. If you are worried about the future, it might be worth speaking to a financial advisor about your private pensions and savings. The state pension is a foundation, but it should not be your only pillar of retirement income. And third, remember that while the politicians debate, you have a voice. Your vote matters. Your opinion matters. Do not be afraid to make your views known to your Member of Parliament. Thank you so much for staying with me through this. I know politics can be dry and confusing, but I hope I have made it a little clearer for you. The bottom line is this. Andy Burnham has broken his silence and has given a clear commitment to keep the triple lock for now. But the long-term future is uncertain, and the pressure to reform it is growing. So, stay alert, stay informed, and most importantly, take care of yourself and your finances. If you found this video helpful, please do hit that like button. It really helps the channel and helps other seniors find this important information. And if you have not already, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss future updates on your pension and other important topics. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. I read every single one. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. God bless.